So first of all, thank you all for coming today to my talk. And the topic that I will be focusing on is basically the data science in Python, how it all started, and so on and so on. So first, before I start, I would like to thank also organizer for this amazing event and for having me here. So really like great organization, great venue, so really nice to be here, and I really love Vilnius. So during my talk, this is simply the structure of my talk, and during it, I would like to be like more interactive with you. I will use this, something called Slido. How many of you know Slido or use it? So use it also this time. The hashtag is PyConLT, and constantly during the presentation I will be asking you some questions, so make it like more interactive. So a few words about me. I'm economist as for education, and as for profession, or after my graduate study, I simply started as analyst, data scientist, and I'm doing consulting for about 10 years, mostly with focus on public sector, but a few clients are also from private one. I'm also a founder of PyData Bratislava, local organizer, and also lead the R and Tableau community, and recently we started also Julia meetups. As for my journey towards the Python, I started during my studies in MATLAB. So only after that, after some experience with Stata and SAS, I switched to open source. And yeah, first one was R, then Python, then Julia. Out of Python, or out of this data science world, I also play football or lead one team. So basically, that's another topic. In case you meet me, I'm definitely into it, discussing football and so on. And also, I'm founder of Effective Altruism Slovakia. These are the books that I have been working on, or not as an author, but I help as for the quality of it, and currently writing one, but I cannot say more. And basically teaching at Data Camp, which is like a global provider of the education within data science, and then some local ones, GoPas and Learn to Code. It's within Slovakia and Czech Republic. Okay, so first I would like to ask you how many of you are developers here, and how many see yourself as data scientists? Okay. The PyCon LT is in the underside, so it's basically this conference hashtag official. Okay, so we can stop it here. So majority see themselves as a data scientist, so that's you are on the right place on PyData track. So what is, this was just a test, this was just like a warm-up before the other questions. So what basically is data science? In recent years we can like see in the private sector, but also in academia, like booming of these data science buzzword. It basically become buzzword. And some may get the impact, or might get the impression that this was something that was invented recently. One of the persons who helped to like push this data science like combination of words and simply made this data science as buzzword is DJ Patel, who is like mostly cited as the one who with Jeff Hammerbacher coined the term data science. The problem with this claim is that the only source that can like confirm this from the scientific perspective is his own book. So if you look like harder or deeper into the past, you will see that this is simply not true. So I don't want to diminish his like contribution to the profession, but it simply starts with a statistician named John Tukey, and the beginnings of data science itself is connected with Bell Labs. And simply when there was like the beginning of the computer science itself, so basically connected also with another very famous person, John von Neumann in the 50s, and later in 70s with this Bell Labs and John Tukey, who simply created the first like concept how we should analyze data, how the computers should process them, and so on and so on. So if we want to define data science, it's basically collection of the scientific results and methods that transform the raw form of data into the meaningful information and knowledge, and hopefully at the end the wisdom that will help us to make better decisions. So also in public sector, also in private ones, also in our private lives. There is also one of common misconception. Some people took the terms data science and big data as equal. This is not true. Big data is just one of the problems that data science tries to solve. And what data science is simply interdisciplinary combination of computer science, statistics, and one of the professions that really help to push data science forward were also economists or econometrics, mostly within the time series analysis. Okay, if you want to go further into this topic, the history of data science itself, a great source is David Donoho from Stanford. The paper is from 2015. There is the link. Okay, so as I mentioned, the basic concept is to take the raw data or the signals, and we try to identify this signal within the raw data, and then give it some context. It becomes information, and after that, hopefully knowledge. There is role of the data scientist ends after the purpose part, when there is the decision needed. It's mostly out of the hands of a data scientist, so basically it's your client or somebody that you work for example, policy decision maker and so on. So at the end, the change should be based on data or based on data-driven approaches simply. So this is called data science pyramid, and this is the process or the workflow of data science. So simply, you will start with a definition of problem. This is very important because if you don't define the problem in a well manner, you simply don't find the right data and cannot continue. In the middle, as you see, it's iterative process, or the process from cleaning, transformation, visualization, modeling, and hopefully at the end it should be the insights there. In case that we don't find or don't identify insights, we have to return back or collect more data relevant to the problem solving. If problem is solved, then we have to simplify it to client, simply explain to the decision maker what we did or what are the results, and at the end there is also deployment. So basically the model should be implemented and useful for the client. Okay, so if we after the beginning of data science itself, we have seen recently, and this is the main topic of my talk, is basically data science in Python. If you check the history of Python, Python is not ideal language for data science. It was basically founded as the very easy language that was designed for kids, simply. So it started with Guido van Rossum, and his basic idea at the beginning was the language ABC. So simply like the easiest way how to teach even preschool or pre-elementary school kids how to program. So basically Guido's view was that programming should be like part of the areas that should be included into the computing, into the general knowledge of the young kids. So later this was not successful project, but later on he started this during the one break in the work. It was before Christmas in 1989, and this was like the first version. Then he left from Netherlands and he moved to US, and then it begins like its own journey, the journey of Python. One of the disadvantages of Python itself is that it's really slow and really not so well for processing of data. So I mean the core of Python, or the Python without the additional libraries. Later on, it began useful also for processing a lot of data, but it was in the core designed for teaching, simply teaching kids. The name is derived from Monty Python Flying Circus, which you probably know. Okay, as I mentioned, Python is not ideal for processing data, but there is one programming language that is ideal for data, or was designed at the beginning. It's called R, and it's also connected with the Bell Labs that I mentioned before with John Tukey. So it basically started as programming language S, and it's connected with John Chambers as the founder. And later on, the motivation simply to create R was to avoid the fees for the license of this S language that later became like commercial version of the original S, which was open source. And the foundation of the R language is connected with the University of Auckland in New Zealand. Okay, so this is another question. What was your first data science programming language? So check Slido, and I'm interested in what were your beginnings. Okay, Python, C++. MATLAB, okay. 75 inputs, nice. Okay, so we can see that the clear winner is Python. So simply, even the vision of the Guido at the beginning was that it was like first programming language that everybody should learn, and even data scientists or the majority among you like pick it out. So how the Python began the programming language for data science? It was basically the effort, collective effort of many very clever minds. At the start, it's connected with NowFocus itself, which is a non-profit organization in US, and the name NowFocus is a connection of NumPy and focus on NumPy simply, and the most important name in this context is Travis Oliphant, who was simply founder or creator of this NumPy library, and his basic idea was to create some tool that can process the data in a similar way like MATLAB. So basically open source alternative to MATLAB, and he connected 3 other libraries under this name NumPy. Later on, he also created SciPy, which is also together NumPy and SciPy as a MATLAB alternative. Another important name is John Hunter, the creator of Matplotlib, which is a data visualization library. And the core of data science is done within Python world in a library called Pandas. You probably heard about it. And the founder is Wes McKinney, the one on the right at the top. So basically all these data processing tools or libraries are very effective, and it's the syntax is Pythonic or Python, but in the core the effectiveness of these libraries is because they are implemented in something called Cython, there is a translation from Python to C, and this is why it's so quick. Later on, all these data stack or PyData stack become included in one of the libraries. SciPy was the first connection of these data tools. Later on, it was also created one Python distribution, which is called Anaconda. So simply, currently, if you want to enter data science world in Python, you simply install Anaconda as one of the distribution where you have all these tools and all the results of the work and PhDs and so on from the most talented people in the world, and all selected 1,000 libraries in one distribution together with Python. There is a great network of PyData conferences and meetups. This is one of the places here in Vilnius, and we founded also the local branch in Bratislava, Slovakia, as 40 of the local meetups within the world. Okay, so these are the simply tools that are mostly used or I will recommend as for the Python world. So as for IDEs, probably the mostly used is Jupyter notebooks. Before it was called IPython notebooks. And it simply is language agnostic. It started as Python project, but currently you can find a lot of kernels for all the programming languages that you mentioned before during the Slido checking. So You can use Jupyter notebooks with any language that you like. Like if you want to program professionally, or if you want to use advanced tools for interaction with Python or for programming in Python, there is a great tool by JetBrains called PyCharm. So basically it works well also with Jupyter notebooks, and also you can basically write scripts and chain them and create packages. So this is like the area of classical software development. This is the mostly used tool that I would recommend. And there is also another like evolution of the Jupyter notebooks, which is called JupyterLab. And this is basically the IDE of the future. It's currently still not in like final version, so it's still in development, but it's like combination also Java, also other JavaScript, and a lot of other programming languages, but it simply works as your browser, and you can interact with the submodule, which is the Jupyter notebook itself. For data collection, in past we mostly used classical imports in Pandas, but there is currently like the switch towards the completely new format, which is like the common result of the most like advanced data scientists within Python world and R world. From Python world, Wes McKinney as author of Pandas, and from R world, Hadley Wickham, and they basically create this like new tool for a representation of the data within memory. So one is within the RAM, and one is simply a representation on your disk. So one Apache arrow and then a feather. For data visualization, you probably all know Matplotlib, but based on this is Seaborn is the most advanced. And if you want to create something interactive, bokeh is the new vision for data visualization itself, and Plotly is also cross-language. For data cleaning and transformation, Data Cleaner, Blaze, Dask is for parallel computing, so if you want to parallelize your code. For data modeling, like classical statistical modeling, is mostly use stats models within Python, and then Bayesian statistics, PyMC3, and for deep learning, Keras together with TensorFlow or PyTorch. Okay, so there is like a great rivalry between the classical or the typical data science community, which is based in R language, and the current leader, which is the Python PyData stack. And it simply doesn't make sense, because even in the Anaconda distribution that I mentioned, it simply recently began even a distribution of not just Python, but also R itself. And basically we can see that these different worlds, or these different areas of data science, are colliding. And in the future, we will not make the distinction in such way as it was in past. So it's simply most of the innovation is created still in R community, or in the most advanced tools for data science, but the Python world, or the PyData stack, is developing in rapid range. So it simply is inspired by the R world, and also the other way around. Okay, we can switch this, and there is another voting which IDE you mostly use for the majority of your work. PyCharm, nice. Okay, so Jupyter Notebooks. So also good choice, but consider also the JupyterLab in the future, because it simply combines Jupyter Notebooks with other technologies, so keep it in mind. So I will end it here. Okay, so what is the future of data science itself? Some say that it's the Pythonic way or the PyData stack that will lead to innovation. But as I mentioned, most of the innovation within data science is still in the R community or in the R world. It's tradition also from the past, but the PyData world is improving in rapid range. But there are still some limitations within the Python that we cannot like override, or we simply are limited by this. So at least from my point of view, the real innovations or the real pushing the boundaries of data science itself is currently happening in Julia community. And also, as we heard many times, the future is female. So maybe, at least from my point of view or from point of view of many others within the Julia community, this is the way forward. So what are the advantages of Julia? First of all, I have to mention that also Julia is financed by NowFocus, and it basically started as project at MIT by these four very clever people, and the vision was basically to take all the advantages of all other programming languages and to combine them in something that will be very fast, very easy syntax as Python, and have all the advantages of the other. If you check, for example, the Jupyter notebooks that you selected as for the IDEs, even the name itself, Jupyter, is like combination of three programming languages. It starts with Julia, GU is from there, Python and R. The order is not like random, so it basically even from this point of view, it's seen the Julia as the next logical step towards the future of data science itself. If I select, or if we agree that the Pythonic way is the way forward, there are a lot of improvements in area, for example, the technology called Ray by authors from Rice Lab, the authors of Spark. So definitely if you want to check or get the sneak peek as for the future, check, for example, Project Modin, which is simply like Pandas on advanced or triple the speed of Pandas. So if you want to improve the speed of Pandas, check out Project Modin, and it's based on the Ray technology. And the Ray itself is basically used also in machine learning, and so far Python has really the best libraries within machine learning. Then there is planned the Pandas 2.0 using the Aperture technology and so on. So also there will be a lot of improvements there. So definitely check also this out. And another voting. What's the future? This was like my vision, or vision that I presented, but what is your opinion on this? Okay, so it's logical. We are on Python conference, yeah? But at least, okay, I will take it as it is, but definitely check out also Julia, because it greatly combines also the classical software development with the data science world. And this is simply what we need, because like classical data scientists are not so well in software development. but this is something that combines these worlds, and we need it for the future. So some few words. I'm over time. Sorry for that. This is a few words about the PyData as the global movement, or the conferences as meetups. As I already mentioned, within Slovakia we started in 2016 in December as 40 globally. After a few days after us in LA was created, and within the region, or the V4 countries, we were the second one after Poland, where they already had in Warsaw, Wrocław and Krakow, and in Vienna a few months before us they started. After I tried to push in Czechia, and it took 2 years till they found it, and 1 year after we found it, also Hungary in Budapest, the local meetup was created. As you see from the map, there is more the PyData local meetup outside the US than in US itself. So this is simply something that was not expected at the beginning. It simply started as educational project for within NumFocus. So it really it's great to see this growth, but there are a lot of problems connected to it. And the first one in Europe was founded by Jan here. So PyData London was the first one that Travis Oliphant, I think, he handpicked you to pushed you, okay. So yeah, and what are the goals of NumFocus basically? So how many of you know the lady on the left, or know this picture? Okay, so a lot of you. That's great, but some thing that you probably don't know is that also this breakthrough in science was done by mostly technologies financed by NumFocus, or financed via this educational program and support for developers. So basically, these are the goals of NumFocus, and these are the goals of PyData itself, simply to support the talented developers and to push the science forward. Yeah, and these are some activities. I will skip this. This is about us and the conferences that we cooperate. This is one of our activities. If you don't know, one of the very talented data journalists in Slovakia was killed because of his work. So this was one of our activities that we made together with one of the biggest the IT universities, and it has a lot of impact. And this is more about us. So we started about 3 years ago. It's the organization that I mainly work for is Give Data Institute, and it's non-profit. And we are in partnership with NumFocus, an organizer of the PyData Bratislava. And from the day one, we started as with transparent account, and these are the basically rules and also our values: openness and transparency. This is the link to the slides. And if you want to support us, you can use the QR code. And this is me 2 years ago. That's not important. It was in Berlin. And you can rate also my talk. So I'm interesting how it will. Okay, nice. That's not bad. Hopefully at least informative what it was. Okay, so it's about 8, so thank you. Okay, this is contact to me. We have also Slack, Get Data if you want to learn more about us, and these are the Twitter accounts that I manage. And yeah, and this is the last thing that I will mention, and I would like to invite you all to Bratislava later this year. First conference that we will organize will be focused on R language, and these are the already confirmed keynote speakers. One of the founders of Data Science LA, Szilárd Pavka, and Chester Ismay, who is like curriculum lead in Data Camp, and he handpicked me to Data Camp. So so check out this, and hopefully in near future, but we have to discuss with non-focus first and set the date, but hopefully later this year there will be also a PyData conference or track in other conference, and you are all welcome to join and come also to visit us as I came here. So thank you for your attention, and sorry for the delay, but